empathy is now considered a swear word almost. And so I think we got to be really careful about where we're heading right now, because it seems to me, I could be wrong, but my impression is that being macho is now the in thing. And I think that's a trap. I think it's dangerous.
I think over the years, I think that men have been under attack, and women for that matter. But I think the what's the catch term,
Toxic
masculine,
masculinity,
yeah,
right?
toxic masculinity. In other words, men have been uh labeled as being toxic because they are, God forbid, they're men, right? And they're doing
Sure.
men things, manly things,
Right.
and whatever, and I'm, it's like you said, I'm no expert on any of this stuff, but I think that I think some men have, they're how do you say it, not gender affirming, but gender attacks,
Well, gender
almost.
denying. I mean,
Right.
yeah, I'd like to explore this a little bit. One of the, I have a podcast myself, and one of my friends is a psychiatrist and a writer. And we did an interview about masculinity. And he talks about toxic narcissism, which is really not a gender related thing, because his view is similar to yours, that, a gender in and of itself can't be toxic. And that's the problem. There are men who certainly behave in a toxic way, but all men aren't toxic. Even though I would imagine that if you're a woman who's been on the receiving of a lot of toxic behavior, it's going to be hard for you to, see that there may be some guys who aren't like that. I'm pretty sure, though, that at least the women I know are able to differentiate between someone, who's narcissistically toxic, and someone who's kind and gentle and all right. But I think the point you're making is really an important one, because I think that for a long time men have felt under attack, uh, uh, and and maybe have been, some of the good guys have been lumped in, and have been, in a sense, victimized by proxy, but for some of the bad behavior of the bad boys. um, it's and there's, another phrase that's been thrown around is incel, and involuntary celibate, because the girls, won't give the nice guy a chance. They fall for the bad boy, and it's the nice guys who lose out, and that makes them, angry as well. And if they're shy on top of that, then, it's hard for them to forge a meaningful relationship with a woman, because, they're intimidated, and and it makes it difficult for them to process. It's a grief situation. I mean, you don't have to lose a loved one to be going through grief. You can lose a pet, a relationship, all those kinds of things can create the same grief experiences. Those,
Sure.
those five stages. And of course, then the sixth stage is finding meaning. And I think that's really the ultimate goal, is to, whatever is causing your grief, whatever is causing the pain, is worth examining, so that you can become, a better person, a stronger person going forward in your life.
Right. Well, I'm hoping that this podcast will reach the ears of men that have not been encouraged to explore the raw emotions of grief, and that have pressed it down and repressed it, and
Yeah.
internalized it, and not allowed, look, they have not allowed themselves to have any kind of relief valve to
Yeah.
let some of that steam off,
Right.
right?